If you're a podcast host, listen up. This one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle. And I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Hey, you beautiful person. Thank you for being here. Welcome to another episode of the Radical Healing Podcast. I'm your host, Jess Schroeder. And today's episode is going to require from you some flexibility. And in theater, it's the act of what we call suspending disbelief. So like when you watch a movie or you go to the theater, you're watching a performance, you don't critique it and say, these are actors, this isn't real. Maybe it's really bad acting, you just think that. But for the most part, you're there to see a story. You're there for the experience. And so the mind does what's called suspend disbelief. And you accept it as reality for what you're seeing and what you're perceiving. So the same thing can be done intentionally with your own mind to transform a habit, something that you do repetitively or ritualistically that you no longer want to be doing. Like you're really waking up to this thing is just no longer serving you anymore. It can be something minor, like eating too much candy, to something more major, like realizing you have a dependence on alcohol, which I'm very fond of talking about alcohol relationships, as you probably know if you're a longtime listener of this show. It can be anything. It can be that you notice that you're doom scrolling. It can be you notice that you're spending way more money on tchotchkes and things that don't really bring you joy and fulfillment. So this episode is going to help you move away from this habit that you're becoming aware is just it's really no longer a fit for who you want to be. But it requires that you suspend disbelief. So you're going to suspend disbelief by creating some space between the habit and you. So as we go into the steps of how you're going to do this, come into this with a mentality of, this isn't really mine. This habit isn't mine. It's something that I've just chosen to do over and over again until it became automated. So it feels like mine, feels like a part of me. But you make this commitment now with me, please. I'm going to suspend disbelief and take this habit and look at it as something that is outside of me. It's actually separate from me, because it's in that like clenching down and like the holding on that makes things really hard to change. It makes it hard to see them objectively. It makes them feel much more personal and close to us, and therefore really hard to change. So as we step into this one more time, suspend disbelief. Suspend disbelief as we work with belief. That makes sense to you and doesn't feel too meta. It'll make more sense as we go. Okay, so let me give you some examples. I had a boyfriend in my 20s. I've mentioned him before. He was really funny, but he had a multitude of issues. But one thing he did not do was he didn't smoke. And I was a smoker at the time. And I wanted him to smoke with me. And so I would constantly offer him cigarettes. And he never accepted them, even though he would be drinking or doing cocaine. I was like, oh my gosh, how does he not smoke? Doesn't everybody smoke when they're drinking and doing drugs? And he said to me more than once, I'm not a smoker. I'm just not a smoker. I'm not a smoker. And instead of saying no or being like, oh, I'll just have one, that was his response to me. And this happened many times. I'm not a smoker, Jessica. You get it through your head. And I remember meeting someone at Burning Man once, and she was like this gorgeous lady. And I was in my early 20s, and I'd been drinking, from the beginning of the day to the end. We were hanging out at night, and I was like, God, she looks so good for this late in the day of having been in this party zone. And we were all passing around bottles of things, and I would notice that she would skip it. I was like, oh, do you not want any? She's like, I'm just not a big drinker. Just not a big drinker. And I remember feeling like that. Ooh, like, how can she say that? She talks about herself that way. Ooh, that's so intriguing. And at the time I was like, well, that's certainly not a fit for me. I love alcohol. I love drinking. I smoke cigarettes. So really myself noticing that I was really attached to the ways of being that I felt comfortable with. I was those things, I identified as them, and they informed my habits. If we flip this over and we look at it in like more helpful light, I have a friend, like an uber healthy friend, and her house is immaculate. And you like open the cupboard under her sink, and there's just toilet paper in there, and maybe a cleaning product or two, but it's not stuffed with things. And she could probably write down an inventory of everything that was in her 3-bedroom house. And I was like, how are you doing this? She said, oh, I'm a minimalist. And just that, how easy she said it was just so natural for her. And I also have a friend who like is always outside. She works out outside. She's really tan and lean. And I'm like, how do you make time to be outside all the time? Like, I wish I could be outside all the time. She said, oh, I'm a sun goddess. I'm like, oh, well, I want to be a sun goddess. I want to be a minimalist. I want to be a sun goddess. So just look at this way. Who you tell yourself you are informs what you do. And if you do that over and over and over again, the way we talk to ourselves informs our identity. And the way we talk to ourselves also informs what we do. And these are all wrapped up together. But we can change our habits by looking at habits as crucial, right? They're not throwaway things that we do. They're really, really relevant and really, really important to the overall experience of our life and what we're able to achieve, what we're able to have, what we're experiencing in this human lifetime. The repetitive, seemingly small things that we do, especially on a daily basis, give us our bodies, give us our emotional states, which in turn ripples into the quality of our relationships, how satisfied we are with work, our creative projects, all of it. It all boils down to habits. I love this quote that was like, I'm going to filter it through my own self, so it's not exactly as I read it, but it was something along the lines of um, ambitious people or dreamy people have ideals, right? But successful people, truly satisfied people, have habits. And they have habits that serve them. They have habits that are in service to bigger goals or greater overarching themes in life, the narrative that you want to create within your lifetime. And we don't know how long that is. So the best time to change a maladaptive habit is right now, while you're listening to this episode. So let's play with this a little bit. I would like for you to pick something that you currently do that when you do it, it seems like I'm just kind of doing this like in an automated way. I'm just doing it because I do it. I'm just doing it because I've always done it. I'm just doing it because this is what I know how to do in this time. Or I'm just doing it because something that fits that vibe, and you notice that you say those types of things around it, pick that. That's the thing. And then I'm going to have you, if you're not driving, obviously, blah, 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 and you have a pen and a paper, that would be really handy. Or you can come back and listen to this episode again and do the steps. You're going to write it down. And please write it in affirmative language. And affirmative language doesn't necessarily mean positive light. It just means you're stating it in a non-negative. So for example, if it is that you want to stop drinking every day, you're going to flip that over. I want to stop drinking. Pardon me. I don't want to drink every day. If that's the thing that you want to work on, first you need to work on the phrasing of it so your mind can accept it, because otherwise your mind will create resistance around it, right? So it needs to be like the thing that you want to do rather than the thing you don't want to do. I hope that makes sense. So avoid using double negatives. I don't want to not do this, right? And turn it into an affirmative statement. So the examples that I touched on was, rather than, oh, I don't want to drink every day, flipped over, I want to stop drinking every day. Or however you want to word it for you, right? What do you want to do as opposed to what you don't want to do? I don't want to keep skipping going to the gym. No, I want to exercise first thing in the morning. And you can notice if you say these two things out loud two different ways, that they actually feel the resonance in the body is different. And that's what we want to go for. We want to go for positive resonance that gives you an excitement, an edge to move towards, not something that you feel like you have to move away from, right? So we want forward momentum, not I'm running away from this thing I don't like, which is important. Okay, and then you might answer some of the sub questions in this first part just to create like really a good sense of self honesty. How long has it been this way? How long have you felt like this habit is old? It's no longer serving. In fact, I can see that the effects of it are not good for me, whether that be weight gain or too much money spent or wasted time. For how long have you thought about changing it? And write all these things down. Just do a mini little brain dump here. You can pause this episode if you like. How long has it been this way? What are the symptoms that I'm noticing? For long have you thought, what are the symptoms that you're noticing? Pardon. For how long have you thought about changing it? Now we're going to move into the second step, which is, well, why isn't it changing? Maybe you have tried things to change it. Maybe you have made some efforts, but they perhaps didn't stick, or they didn't feel sustainable, or they weren't exciting for you, or you're just like, no, fuck this. So why isn't it changing? Likely it's not changing because you haven't identified the story about why this outdated habit is serving you. So we need to know this piece of information. We need to know the benefit, the payoff. What are you actually getting? How are you getting off on this thing you don't want to be doing? It doesn't have to be in a sexual way. I use that term loosely, but what is like pleasurable about this? So for me, when I was drinking every day, and I did this exercise for myself. I do a lot of these types of things, but this piece of it for me was it allows me to check out. Drinking at 5 p.m. every night allows me to be off the clock. It allows me to be off the hook. It allows me to not feel responsible. It gives me a break. It gives me a mental break. It gives me an energetic break. See, like there's a positive side to it. It wasn't just that I like drinking and I want to drink. Like there's a deeper reason why we're doing the things that we're doing. And they always, 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 whether it be, even if it's maladaptive, have a positive intention for our survival in one way or another. It's serving as a form of protection. It's a fear-based thing that you're doing that is trying to prevent you from feeling a negative emotion that you've experienced in the past. It's serving you. So you need to uncover the reason why this is serving you. Okay, and that's part of the story around you that you have around it. Why you need it. Why is it helping you? Is it helping you not feel pain? Is it helping you not think about something that you don't want to think about? Is it helping you move through a traumatic time, or did? And maybe that time is long gone, but the habit has stayed. So please identify this and write it down for you. And again, pause it if you need. What is the payoff? What is the positive intention of the habit itself? Okay. Now that you have the payoff, the positive intention, you're going to find the piece of your identity that it's attached to. And you're going to name this as well. So, how you're going to find this can be like, I do this thing, XYZ. The payoff is XYZ. And the part of me that feels like it really needs this is what? Is this scared little girl inside of me? It's this immature teen that was always in trouble or never really got to feel fully expressed. This habit has a positive intention that is really trying to serve the abused girlfriend that I once was, the lonely person living in the city that I once was, you can always trace this back to a formation of an identity piece. So we're going to name this part of your identity. Okay. And write that down. And then what I'd love for you to do, or I invite you to do, is accept it. Accept her or him. Accept this part of you. Extend love and compassion and understanding to this part of you. Extend love and compassion and understanding for the thing that you're doing. Extend some understanding and hopefully gaining more clarity around why this habit's been in place for you. And without any judgment, just feel how this feels in your body. And notice where there may be a constriction or a tightness or a gripping or weight or a heavy or whatever it is, and wherever it is. Typically, they run along the chakras, right? From the root to the tip of the head, but they can really be anywhere in the body. Don't judge where yours is. Don't make up anything about it. Just accept it. Ah, and you can put your hand there and you can say something along the lines of, if you like, I see you. I see you. I'm going to work on understanding you. But regardless, I see you and I accept you. You're not wrong and you're not bad. You don't need to go away. I accept you and what you've been through. And I love you. And we're still on this journey. Right? You get to come along too. You're saying this to this part of you, right? And I'm saying it to you. I'm also saying it to myself. And breathe deep into this spot. And bring more breath there. And allow any expression that your body wants. I think that also, like, numbness is also an expression, tears are an expression. The need to just take a deep breath or to make a sound as you exhale. Let this move, let it move around. Our body holds on to all the memories and all the reasons, all the belief imprint, all the subconscious programming. It exists in our body. So just love on your human animal right now as this moves around. And don't force it to go away. Don't make yourself do anything. Just allow your body to have its own expression right now and let it move. So, what happens is when we suppress and repress parts of ourselves, they act out, and they act out often in habits that are fear-based or going for comfort, but they're not growth oriented. They're not moving us in the direction that we want to be going. They keep us, they want to keep us safe. They want to keep us from not experiencing the pain or the trauma that we've been through. And so just extending yourself that understanding and that visibility helps move it, helps change it. Because there's no secrecy, right? When you remove the secrecy, you remove the shame. It helps to remove the block. It helps to remove the stagnancy of staying the same when really what you want to do is change. So, with a big hug around yourself, thanks for tripping out with me and going on this little journey. Do it again if you like. Oh, I just cried in case you didn't know. Oh, it feels so good, right? It feels so good to move these blockages. We don't need to move through life with the weight of the past. And you can tell you have the weight of the past if you're doing things that you really don't want to be doing. That's just the past. It's the past hanging out, hanging around in repetitive action, repeated belief, or even emotions that we get addicted to, which are fueled by thoughts and words that we have for ourselves. To move into the future, I really believe that we have to work with letting go of the past first. Otherwise, we get like this rubber band effect, right? We want to change something, we make steps to change it, but we haven't healed what lies underneath. And that makes it really difficult to have longevity or sustainability and forward moving, habit change and creating momentum and inspiration in the things that we want to do with our lives, with our time. Geez, like this is an amazing time to be alive, as difficult as it is. But I really believe that we chose to be here, that our soul chose to be here in this incarnation with the people that we incarnated with. And it's our responsibility to work through traumatic things in ourselves so we don't push them forward into the next generation. And whether or not you have kids, this can energetically move forward beyond your lifetime. That's a whole other conversation. So let's bring that and we'll just bring it back to what we can do right now in this moment. So, with that being said, when we soothe pieces of the past, then we have space. Then we have some spaciousness to create something new. Let's all take a deep, deep breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. You can shake your hands if you want. Wiggle your bum, wiggle your body, move your body around. Wah, creating some movement. Now we're going to reverse engineer using some of these tools too. What would you rather be doing? What is the experience that you would rather have? I have more of an expertise in health based things, so I'll use those as an example. Um, if you don't want to be drinking every day, what would you rather be doing? For example, I'd rather be going on an evening walk around the neighborhood with my dogs, or I'd rather be reading books with my kids, or I'd rather be working on this book, or I'd rather paint. What would you rather be doing? Right. So we don't want to create a vacuum. We want to create. We want to create. What is the experience that you would rather have? I'd rather experience myself fully, right? And this is my answer. Please give your own. The experience I would rather have, for example, is just to experience the highs and lows of life with more grace and acceptance. The experience I would rather have is being visible rather than hiding. The experience I would rather have is like really enjoying the honor of being myself in this lifetime with all my colors and weirdness and authenticity. I'd rather that. If you would rather be exercising than getting on your phone first thing in the morning, I would rather be going outside for a run before I even check my phone. The experience I would rather have is feeling that like soreness from working out. Oh, feeling like my muscles activating in my body in places that I forgot that I had muscles. I would rather easily touch my toes. I would rather feel lightness in my physical body. Okay, so answer those questions. What would you rather be doing? And what is the experience that you would rather have? Doing is the habit, the repetitive doing is the habit. What is the new habit you're going to cultivate? And what's the experience of that? We don't just do things because they sound good. Like we do things because we want that experience of who it makes us become, which goes into the next part of this, which is what kind of person do you need to be to have this result? What kind of person has this habit? And name this identity. Who do you get to be? It's really not Like going from A to B or Z or whatever on some linear timeline, it's not about that. It's like, who do you get to become in that process, right? When people achieve a goal, they're not, there's some, yay, I did it. But more of it is like, what was the growth edge of this? Who did you evolve into? So that's really the question we're answering. Who do you get to become? What kind of person? What part of your personality? Who are you being when you have this habit? What kind of person has this habit? And if you don't feel like that's you, just borrow it until it does feel like you. Like my friend who's a minimalist, like I'm not, I don't know if I'll ever be, but like I like that. I like organized cabinets and drawers and like alphabetized things on the shelf. I like that. I don't know if I'll fully ever be that, but maybe I'll borrow that. Maybe I have some minimalistic traits inside of me. So I'll borrow that. You can try things on. They're not forever. As we said in the beginning, you're just suspending disbelief. Suspend the disbelief that you are this version of you already. Just suspend that and just imagine that you are, or find that place inside of you that has that desire. Because if you have the desire, it's for a reason. It's part of your spiritual journey. I would say it's part of your soul's calling to step into that place of identity. So let's give some more like concrete examples. Who who would you be if you had one of the earlier habit examples that I mentioned? Like not drinking every day. I'd rather go for a walk around the neighborhood, for example, than open my 5 p.m. wine Monday through Thursday. Who would I be? I'd be a present parent. I'd be an exercise enthusiast. I'd be a runner. I'd be a walker. I'd be a health nut. I'd be a conscientious person. Buena. Use descriptive words that resonate with you. That's important. They have to be your words. They have to be words that pull you forward. Identify that. Okay. So that's the exercise that we're going through today. Do this again if you want. Work with only one habit at a time to get the greatest effect. You can go through this episode and do it again with a different habit. If you want to really deep dive into this work of sustainable long-term lifestyle habit change, that's exactly what I work with people for. My expertise has really been in helping people heal their alcohol use disorder in various ways that looks, but it looks very different. I've realized over doing this for the past 5 years, very specifically, it looks really different, right? And we all have nuances in the way that we do things. So if you would like to work with me and we can deep dive into why that is, including your history, your personal trauma, the way that you self-talk, the things that you do, how you lay out your day, the way that you use time, the way that you focus. If you want to do this in a really hyper specific way, a nuanced way that's very customizable for you. And not only that, but like fun and really implementable and sustainable. Not just like, I'm just going to be totally different overnight, but like, how do you really work towards change in a way that your nervous system can handle? And how can you adjust with it so that it feels like a natural part of who you are? So when you change who you believe yourself to be, your habits really automatically change. But if you desire help clearing up past residue that you feel may be on you that is holding you back or creating that rubber band effect for you when you try to implement change and it reverts back to what you were doing, or maybe even 2 times more in the other direction, I can definitely help you with that. There's a link here in the show notes if you'd like to just set up a sample session. We can meet and feel each other's vibe, and if it feels like a good fit, we can discuss what a longer program and what a longer journey would look like, and all the ins and outs and nuts and bolts of that. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. Thank you for being here. Thank you for walking this planet at this time in the incarnation that you're in. Thank you for learning the lessons, and thank you for moving forward. It's been great to be with you here today, and I look forward to let's do this again next week.
If you're a podcast host, listen up. This one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle. And I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.